And what people should see their loan officer or mortgage broker is more in a context of a relationship,
Right.
because they could help you build wealth. And what happens is that often people see it just as a transaction, just
Mhm.
like going through Starbucks, getting my latte, but it's not just a transaction. I mean, I've been fortunate and I've been able to help clients build $1 million real estate portfolios.
Right.
You know, I had a client from Guatemala, didn't know how to speak English, came into my office, said, "What do I need to do to buy a home?" Okay, these are the steps you need to do. Many, many years ago. You might remember Horizon Bank in Bellingham when I used to work there. And he came back to me 6 months later. He says, "Hendor, I did everything you told me to do." Okay. He had a small down payment, purchased his first home. I said to him, "When you come back to me the next time, all right, let's use a down payment assistance program to buy another home."
Mm.
Now, it took him a while. It took him like 15 years to get back to me. But he did come back to me. And he says, "I'm ready to buy another home with my 2 other sons, and I want to rent the home that I own now." I said, "Good job." So we did that. We did down payment assistance program, bought another home, rented that home. He sold that home, right? This guy doesn't speak English. He just has a blue-collar job.
Mm-hmm.
He walked away. He walked away with $180,000 in net equity.
Nice.
That changed his life. That changed his family's life.
Yeah.
And we haven't spoken again, but he always knows he has another option to continue that real estate wealth.
Right.
I have another client came from Venezuela, and he was blacklisted by Chavez because he was an engineer that worked in their oil refineries. And he actually we met. I mean, it was a God thing, you know. He found my business card at an open house, and we became good friends afterwards. And we have a lot of similarities because my family and I, we had to leave Cuba due to communism and political oppression, and so did he. So, he started with one home, and now he owns 3 homes. 3 homes, this guy.
Yeah.
And he has over $1 million portfolio.
Yeah.
In assets. So it's building that relationship. Why is that? Because whoever your loan officer or mortgage broker is, then they know you. You know, they most cases they're going to have your information available. So then when you're ready to move and make an offer, bang,
Right.
you get your pre-approval letter. You already have that relationship in place. You know, they have your contact information, depending on what you prefer, you know, for them to keep. Okay.
Right.
But most lenders will have your information still on file in their system. And then you could go make that offer for the next home and build that real estate wealth.
Yeah, it makes it. I mean, it's so big. I mean, I know getting into it's always probably your first hurdle,
Mm-hmm,
and it's kind of like I was watching a thing the other day, and they were talking about building wealth. They said your first 100,000 is the hardest to make. You can, after you hit $100,000 of wealth, and it kind of makes sense because it's the rule of 72, which is how long does it take for your money to double? And so if you're trying to, when you're earning interest on, you know, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, like that investment, as that's growing, it's growing much smaller. Once you know, to go from 900,000 to $1 million, you know, you have all $900,000 working for you to get you to that $1 million. And so once you break that $100,000 of assets, then it becomes easier to multiply that faster. And it's the same thing in real estate, right? Like once you get your first home, it's going to become easier to get your second home. It's going to become easier to get your third home. We have customers that have 80, 90 rental properties. They all started with one, right? And so you see that and you go, wow, that's awesome to see what that does for their families in the long run. But it had to start with one. It had to start with that first time home buyers class for 5 hours on a Saturday.
That's right.
To be able to understand what they needed to do to get into their first home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So As they say, right? A journey of a 1,000 miles or journey 1,000,000 miles always start with the first step. And so I think that's so key. People get intimidated, but they get intimidated and quit before they even start.